right, everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of Ring Rust with your host, Evan Grice, Damon Waitman, and myself, Daryl Marin. So on today's podcast, we're actually going to be talking about the team trips. Now, if you've been a part of any of our team trips, you guys know that these have been a ton of fun. Over the last couple of years, Evan Grice has he's actually logged a lot of kilometers with the team, myself included. Been my trusty, terrible navigational assistant.
I'm good at navigating.
To help you navigate.
Fucking
better off to leave Evan at a gas station and buy a map from 1987 because he will not help you.
I'm good. I just check Instagram sometimes.
He's just addicted to Tinder.
No.
That's the problem. He gets distracted too easy. He's like a dog. You just shake the ball or something, it's like ball.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Hey,
Squirrel.
Evan, we turned the 2 streets, yeah, right? And he's looking at his phone. Yeah. Oh, we missed the street, bro.
Damon, where you at? There we go.
There he is. He's just adjusting. So on today's podcast, we're going to talk about our experiences on the road. For me, as a coach, I love the road. I love being out on the road. I love getting away with the boys. I love being a part of the team again. I loved it when I was fighting. I love seeing new cities. Same thing as coaching, right? Muay Thai for me has really helped me see the world. It's helped me meet so many new people, helped me make so many business contacts over the years, traveling to the United States, traveling overseas, traveling, internationally, hell, even traveling down the road, seeing parts of our country, seeing parts of Ontario, Canada, Manitoba, places that I haven't seen as well. As a fighter, I got to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I've loved every mile of it in between. And as a coach, that's something that I really like to share to all my students, is having that same experience as well, similar to what I have. It's that I've gotten it, and now it's my turn to give back to you guys. So posing some questions for you guys today. We're gonna have some fun with these ones. We're gonna talk about some of our experiences on the road. We're not gonna have enough time to touch on TBA. TBA is gonna be our topic for our next episode. We're actually gonna bring on we're gonna bring on one of our first female combatants that actually got to travel on the road with us. We'll bring her on after, but that's for our next podcast. So we're gonna start off today we're gonna talk about our first team experience. We're gonna talk about the first time we got to travel anywhere. So myself, my first ever fight where I got to travel anywhere. I actually got to go to Winnipeg, which was pretty cool. We flew in. It was like we flew in at like 7 a.m. Have a nap, made weight, ate some food, beat up some guy from Winnipeg that, for me, my first fight experience was trippy where, I got announced as, fighting from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, blah, blah, blah. I fought a guy from Winnipeg. They boo him, but they cheer me. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
These guys get some funny water out here or something. Then I find out later on, buddy had beat up a couple guys from Winnipeg and he had kind of like a bad attitude. So before I went out to fight him, I was told like, yo, bro, you got brought out here to do a job, right? And I'm like, what? They're like, you got to fight this guy or we may not have a ticket home. Like you got to go. So right off the bat, I was like, all right, Winnipeg sucks. I do not want to stay here. It's cold. It's winter. We Winnipeg in November, and there was already like 3 feet of snow on the ground. It was like minus 27 that day.
Oh,
Literally,
yeah.
Game
I
over.
do not want to stay here. So I went out, smashed the guy, had like 5 beer after the fight, and I fought at 145. 5 beer after you've cut weight that day, same day weigh-ins. You fight, you beat a guy up. 5 beer, I'm like tanked. And
That's
then,
20 beer.
Jeff is like, hey, bud, time to go home. So we fly in the morning and catch a red eye on the way home after the fight. So it was like literally, just like buying a hooker, just straight up in and out, and then I'm back.
It's pretty much the exact same thing.
So, yeah, exactly. So
without the domestic.
my first fight experience. So Evan, your first your first road trip experience? Let's hear it.
That was what we got, Indiana. It was like I was at the gym for maybe like 6 months, and you're like, hey, you want to take this fight? Like we're gonna go to Indiana, whatever. And I went. It's like 19, get approved by my parents. They're like, okay, like they're questioning it, but I'm like, all right, let's do it. And initially it was
Indiana.
like,
So let's make that clear. It was South Bend, Indiana, the home of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That was awesome. That was a good city. I really like that place.
that was a sweet place. We went and we were fighting a guy from I think he was from like half an hour away. So we were fighting a hometown boy, and it was me and Jack was fighting a hometown boy too on the main event. And we went. I was so scared, but it was such a good time. I remember this vividly because we're in the corner, and buddy that I'm fighting, he's got his shorts rolled up real high. And then you look at me, D, you're like, all right, bro, he's going to head kick you. Watch for that left head kick. I was like, okay. I come up with my hands like this. Right away, boom, head kick right in the neck. And I was like, oh, shit. And I just hit it hard. And then we went. It was a tough fight. Like, I work my clinch a lot, whatever. But, yeah, what's up?
So was that like the first time in a fight that when I told you something you didn't listen to me, or is that like just like a couple of them before that?
No, that was my second fight, but literally every fight, I'm pretty sure I haven't listened to you.
No, never.
So, yeah, for the first fight, I definitely didn't because that was my first time getting my feet wet, but that one, definitely not. Right away, first thing, hey, watch the head kick. Boom, 10 seconds in, head kick, right? Snap my neck a little bit. And no, it was a good fight, tough fight. We went unanimous, just outpointed the guy, just tough
so you
little
won.
dude. And yeah, I won that unanimous. That was a good win.
So do you there's actually a couple stories to that trip. Let's touch on these stories a little bit where
Okay.
The first one, do you remember who was my second on that one in the corner? Do you remember the corner with me?
Yeah, it was Carlin. And I remember
so when you first came to the gym, I remember Carlin, you and Carlin didn't really like each other, or Carlin didn't really know you. He probably didn't think anything of it, but you didn't think too highly of Carlin, correct?
Yeah, man. When I started, it was probably my third day, and Carlin was the type, like, he'd come periodically. He'd come once in a while, come train. And I remember my first time sparring, I went in the ring, and Carlin, he's a big dude. He just grabs my neck and just kneed me so hard and just dropped me so hard. Like, literally my first time. And just going 100%, just need the snot out of me. And then I remember you snapped on the whole gym. You, like, shut the gym down for a second. You just kind of yelled at Carlin, yelled at the gym, just, this is not what we do. And I was just like, okay, D's cool, but this Carlin guy sucks.
Yeah, well, Carlin's always had a chip on his shoulder, so that was kind of like me and Carlin there's been many instances like that where I've had to yell at Carlin. Thanks.
Well, that's the thing. You go and whatever, we have that sparring, and a few months later, like, oh yeah, we're going on this team trip, me, you, Jack, and Carlin. I'm just like, why the hell is Carlin coming? Like, I don't want him to come. Like, like, why? Like, I barely see this dude. Like, I know him like twice, and he's just been mean to me, and he's dropped me in the ring. Like, I don't want to go with this guy, but frick.
So did you guys like reconcile during the trip?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, team trip was next level. Like, Carlin after that trip was my brother. Like, that guy, like, just kind of, I realized this guy's a cool dude, and we just kind of set it off. And that's the thing that team trips do. Like, you go and you think you know somebody, but you don't know somebody until you're stuck in a car for 9 hours just talking. Or you don't know somebody until you're stuck in a hotel room and just sleeping we got 2-bedroom hotel and 4 or 5 of us just stuck in the hotel. Like, you're gonna get to know somebody quick, and I got to know Carla, and that dude's my brother now.
Yeah, especially
when you have to cut weight and there's a bunch of dudes sitting in a hotel in underwear. You really learn
You learn quick.
bonding aspect very quickly.
Yeah.
100%.
So there's actually another great like superstar story from that trip where I'm actually going to tell this one. This is something where like it makes me laugh every time I think about this. So a little bit of a back play. You and Jack fought fighters from the same gym, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So their coach at the time, you know, I'm not going to drop any names. You know, we used to see them at TBA, and they're huge. Like the coach was always a huge supporter of us. You know, when I was a fighter, I'd see him at events and be like, "Hey, you know, you guys are Canada, you guys are awesome. Hey, Canada, you guys are great." Blah 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 blah. So it actually kind of caught me off guard a little bit that these guys wanted to fight us. You know,
Yeah.
he's always been like, whenever we travel to the States, like I said, he's always been like our number one fan. And so we get to the hotel, and the promoters there's two of them. You know, we start talking in the lobby of the hotel. And the way the hotel was set up is that you had the lobby, there was like this wall, and you walk around the corner, and then there's an elevator. So I start talking with the promoters. There's two of them. The two guys that used to run the Lang Fight League in Michigan and everything. You know, I'm talking to these guys, and you know, from the back, we hear the elevator ding. It's like ding, and you know, we turn and we look, nobody's there. So we just keep on talking, and you know, with our conversation, it goes along the lines of like, oh, you know, like I just said, you know, I'm actually really surprised. You know, this guy fought us, blah blah blah. You know, Steven Seagal's guys always come, and then the actual like buddy looks like Steven Seagal. He looks like an aged Steven Seagal, right? So they started ripping him, and they're like, oh yeah, fat Steven Seagal's guys, blah 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 blah, and then. You know, all of a sudden, as soon as we start ripping the guy, he like appears out of nowhere, just around the corner, standing there, and we're all like looking at him like, "Oh, bro, you know, like this guy just this guy just hurt us, tortured him bad, right?" So, and it wasn't even us; it was literally like the promoters. But buddy,
it might have been Carlin too.
He's like, "Hey, nice to see you," trying to like strong.
Yeah.
You know, we've been looking forward to fighting you for a while, blah, 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 blah. Do you have a business card? Blah, blah, blah. Takes my card, you know, and it's just like the most like forced, awkward encounter. So, you know, the buddy walks out the door, the promoters leave, me, you, Jack, Carlin, we get in the elevator. I look over at Carlin, and Carlin's just laughing. I go, bro, there's a good chance we're going to have to fight fat Steven Seagal this weekend. Carlin just breaks out laughing with like, later on, with this fight trip, Jack was fighting their guy, and their guy was like 12-0, you know, undefeated. He had some big wins. He was fighting TBA. Jack was going into TBA that year too. And when we show up there, the actual arrangement was no gear, no shin guards, full rules, like nothing, like no headgear. I think your fight too was no headgear, Evan.
Yeah.
Did you guys fight bare shin, or did you guys wear shin guards?
No, we wore it was my second fight, so we wore shins and elbow pads, but no headgear.
But no headgear, okay. And Jack, he was full rules. So in Jack's fight, he was the main event. You know, so we show up there, we show up for the rules meeting, and you know, the rules said, you know, we're fighting pretty much, you know, A class. So we get there, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we want to fight with shin guards. So we're like, well, we agreed to this. We don't want to fight here, right? And then they made the excuse, well, my guy's fighting at TBA in a month. We don't want him to get hurt, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. So Jack, in the fight, you know, the first round was competitive. You know, we changed Jack's game a little bit. Jack starts stomping him out in round 2, stops him in round 3, right? Buddy, like, he cut his head.
Yeah, bro, he split the guy's head open.
You know, we're leaving. We got all the trophies. We got the medal. Their team's so bad. Jack looks around, just waves and goes, "See that TBA?" Like the most like,
good luck at TBA.
Like,
see you later.
Like, hey, bud, this is what you get for, you know, changing the game on us, right? And looking at Jack, I just laughed. Sure enough, their whole team didn't show up to TBA.
Oh,
bro, I don't think
Jack
that guy hasn't fought since. Like,
Jack retired.
After that Jack fight,
yeah, so
MIA.
they literally went 12-0 until Jack retired him. Like, his first loss, he took a beating, and we're like, welcome to A class, bud.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, yeah, that was actually a great trip going to Indiana. I had a lot of fun on that one. Damon, do you remember your first team trip?
Yeah, Sudbury. It was my first fight with you guys, and
You got to go to the big metropolis of the armpit of Ontario, Sudbury.
Yeah, man. There's something in the water up there, I tell you, because
rock liquors, bud. Rock liquors.
Bunch of rock liquors.
Yeah,
Rock
Evan's,
liquors, man. Like,
Evan's taken a couple good trips to Sudbury too. I think he's fell in love there a couple times.
Oh, he falls in love everywhere he goes, man.
No, we go to Wacky Wings. I love Wacky Wings, and I was cutting weight and I was drinking beer, and that's as good as an excuse you're gonna get. We'll leave it at that. All right, keep going, Damon. Keep going, Damon.
Oh,
yeah, okay.
Evan just deflected that one. Dirt off his shoulder.
Always done.
Yeah, you dodged that situation pretty fast, man.
Yeah. All right, David, tell us about your first one.
Yeah, I was going in the Sudbury, my first fight with you guys. We were with Little Sam, and my first trip with Evan. Yeah, Little Sam too. First trip with Evan and Daryl, and yeah, man, it was not what I expected for sure. You know, like it was a good time. I thought I was in shape for that fight too. I remember that. Found out really fast that I wasn't. I think I gassed out like the second round or first round or something like that. End up losing the fight, but it really brought me it made me love the team more. You know, like yeah, it made me like I didn't know anyone really that well, right? So we went on that team trip. You know, I got to know you guys. You know, you spend so much time with them in the hotel, and win or lose, right? I lost, and I showed everyone's true colors, and it was a good time. I think we got drunk after too, and it was good. Yeah, we went to Wacky Wings anyways.
Wacky Wings is the best restaurant known to man.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by Wacky Wings, the best restaurant ever.
Yeah. And it was cold.
Yeah, didn't a bunch of them just file for bankruptcy because of Corona? They closed?
I hope not. I'm gonna go by Lotto Max. I'm gonna buy Lotto Max so I can friggin' buy it.
No, wait. I think it was Buffalo Wild Wings. I think that's what I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think some of them closed down.
Wacky Wings is the best.
That place is a fucking dump anyway.
Wacky Wings is the best just because you go there and you fall in love with the server every single time.
It was one time. Get over yourself. It was
whatever. We drive to Sudbury, let's go see if Paige is working at Wacky Wings.
Exactly. It was one time. It was only Paige.
Yeah, who's Paige?
I don't know.
Yeah, we go to the hotel, and this guy's on his phone trying to he's literally Googling Paige Wacky Wings Sudbury.
I am, man. Literally like an hour.
And I'm looking at him like, bro, are you for real doing this right now?
Yeah, pulling a full Ted Bundy.
Man, she was awesome.
All right, so we've talked about our first trip. Now we're going to talk about our favorite trip. So our favorite road trip we taken with the team. So, either, with you fighting, with you going as a supporter, in any measure. Now, TBA is excluded. Again, TBA, that's a giant event. I'm talking about when we go to New York, we go to upstate, we go to Michigan, Montreal, Ottawa, all those places in between. So Evan, start us off. What's your favorite road trip team experience?
Trying to think, we got a lot of good ones, but I think it's got to be when we went up to the Sioux.
Oh,
Sioux. Yeah, MMA fighting in Darnell's hometown. That was just literally from start to finish. That was the best. We go and cutting weight. We go to your sister's cottage. We go in
the actual isolation. The isolation in the middle of the woods.
Literally, man. We're with Corona right now. We should just venture up there and just hang out there for a couple months.
Yeah, episode 3 brought to you by fucking Daryl's sister's cottage.
So with social distancing, are you saying we just all unsocial distance and just lock it down in the cottage?
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I'm good with that. I don't really got a lot to do. Since I'm running Zoom classes anyways, I can do them off the end of the dock.
That's true.
Make everyone jealous. There you go.
All right, May long weekend. Boom, settled. Okay, the Sioux trip. So we cut weight. I actually remember this trip a lot because it was a lot of fun. For me as a fighter and coach, people saw me that I was competing back home, but nobody ever got to watch me fight because there was never any fights up there, right? Unless I wanted to fight like Big John's MMA up in, upstate Michigan somewhere up in the UP. But, there wasn't really any shows. So, my friends and my family, they had never watched me fight. So to me, what I was thinking going into this is that my guy couldn't look like a little bitch, because then in turn it would make they think that I'd look like a bitch, right? So
100%.
you have to like so
Straight up.
There was times, like we showed up the day before weigh-ins, and we're out in a parking lot on Main Street, hitting pads, and people are driving by honking at us while they're all like, oh, look at these guys, and I'm making Evan cut weight in a sauna suit out on the street, right?
Yeah, man, little Bluetooth speaker, cranking TI, just hitting pads, doing push-ups, and getting that weight down.
Do you remember the day before fishing trip?
Man, 100%. We went. You're like, all right, let's do something. Get your mind off things. So you're like, all right, let's go fishing. And I'm like, oh man, like I don't like fishing. Like this sucks. you guys, it was you and Caleb, your son, came too. So we're like, all right, like we'll go fishing, and we're fishing. Nobody's catching anything, and I caught a monster, like a big boy.
Legitimately, I'm not gonna lie. This guy catches one of the biggest bass I've seen anybody pull out of this lake, and he looks at me. He goes, "You guys suck. I'm the best at fishing." This guy made his phone, told him where to cast. He used my tackle, my rod, but he
sounds like some excuses right now. Sounds like some excuses. I'm just the best fisherman there is. I'm the dark side fisherman. If you want tips, hit me up. Evan Grice on Instagram. Evan Grice on Facebook. Hit me up.
All right, so we skip ahead. Fishing trip was done. Evan gets this, like, he's wearing a white wife beater.
Yeah, Budweiser tank top.
Whatever. You're wearing a wife beater. You go for weigh-ins. He's got the biggest, like, redneck, white trash sunburn.
I have the worst sunburn I ever had in my life.
For Northern Ontario, it was a beautiful, beautiful May. It was like 25 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. The sun was like, especially when you're on the water, you get it from the top, it reflects, you get it from the bottom. So Evan's face is red. He's got the wife beater like around here. His arms are red. And then his chest and his chest and his stomach is just like bright white with all his like dumb little butterfly tattoos and stuff. So he's out there, and he's just like goes to weigh-ins. I look at him and I'm like, oh my god, like we just look like white trash right now.
That's awesome. And I was so shook when we were going there, because I remember on the radio, we're driving to weigh-ins. I'm already shook up because I know you want me to win this fight, and it's like, and this weekend rec MMA fighting championships with your hometown guys like Carol St. Helen. I just like look at you. I'm like, bro, I'm fighting that guy. Like I'm fighting that guy. Like what the hell's going on? I was just so shook up. I'm like, why didn't they say my name on the radio? Oh no, this guy's good. Like freaking out.
Yeah. So if you guys want to watch that fight, it's Rec MMA. Type in Carol St. Helen, Evan Grice. And yeah, that's actually a good fight. So play-by-play of this fight is awesome to me, because the first round, you kind of follow the game plan where, we wanted to separate. I wanted you to use your boxing around, move a little bit. And the first thing Carol does is when he tries to close distance is he pushes you to the fence and you underhook him right away. He goes for the takedown. You reverse him, you end up on top and just ground and pound for like the rest of the round. Now, I remember in training camp, I told you specifically, like, bro, this guy doesn't have much on his feet except a head kick. And we drilled this over and over. Carol starts the fight with what, Evan? Or sorry, he starts the second round with what?
Head kick. I'm vulnerable to him.
We knew it was coming. Evan gets rocked. He's on deer legs, just like moving like
bro,
this.
I saw all white.
And I'm like, oh no. So Carroll rushes in, Evan boxes him a little bit, hits him a little bit, and then they like kind of get into a scramble a little bit. The second round's close. Carroll definitely landed the better strike in that round, like if I had to pick one, but Evan controlled the round. Again, we get into a scramble on the ground, and it's like I think Evan did enough to win round 1 and 2. Correct?
Yeah, I think so.
It was close. It was a close fight.
100%. Well, the thing is, we got lucky because he went and he head kicked me once, and then he head kicked me. I was
You got
wobbling
head kicked
the first
twice.
one. Yeah, man. It was back to back. The second one, I just saw all white. And if he was smart, he would have went and just 1-2'd my face off. But he came in trying to take me down. I was like, yes. And then I took him down, and I got a little break, like did some knees, get some ground and pound, just get my head back in order. But I was shook up. That's for damn sure.
Okay, and then round 3. So I had Nick Castiglia with me in the corner. Now,
Papa Nick.
Papa Nick's awesome. On the ground, Nick is far superior in his knowledge on the ground to me. So as soon as you guys went to the ground, I kind of let Nick coach you. You know, on the feet, I feel like that's my forte, right? The feet, wrestling, I'm not taking anything away from Nick. Nick's great at everything as well. But when it came to the ground, I'm like, all right, Nick, like this is all you. And, you know, round 3 starts, you guys get an exchange again. You hit him with some good punches. You actually clip him with a nice hook in the round. And you rock him. And then Carroll, like, stumbles back to the cage, and you're like pressing him, trying to hit him. You get into like this like an over-under situation, and then this motherfucker literally like springs off the cage like a jumping, springing armbar off the cage, and like flips you over down into the middle of the ring. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Bro, my arm, I literally
just like twisting his arm, and Nick goes to me. He's like, oh, bro, he's going to break his arm. He's going to break his arm. Evan, you're like twisting and turning, and then you end up on top in side control.
Yeah, I just, man, when that happened, so I remember he got me the first thing before that. So we did the flying armbar, and he has it. Nick's like, knee on his throat. So I tried throwing my knee on his throat, and I lost my balance, and I fell on my back. And I literally, because the thing is, it was Carroll's hometown too. Like it was in the Sioux. So literally, I'm on my back, my arms getting hyperextended, and the whole friggin' arena is so loud, just cheering. And I'm just laying on my back, and I'm like, I lost this fight. And then I just like clicked in. I remember your family, Daryl, they're like at the table close to the ring. I was like, I can't lose this fight right now. So I just went rage mode. And I just kind of weaseled my way out of it, got on my side, threw some GSP knees to the body on the ground. I was like, man, yeah, man. My arm was almost toast. Like I remember Hammer out in Ottawa. Shout out to Hammer. He was reffing the fight. And I remember like he was looking at me, looking at the submission. I remember his eyes, like he was like almost like ready to stop the fight. And I'm like, oh no, this.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
Oh man, yeah, that was tough. I thought my arm was almost done. I was ready to have my arm broken and just keep going with that fight for a second there.
Yo, you got out of a couple deep submissions there too, didn't you?
A couple what? Sorry?
I think the only one
the
fight that only threatened, like the only submission that really threatened him was that armbar, I feel.
Yeah, the guillotine wasn't. I remember that was at the very end of the fight. He went and he knew he was down. It was like 20 seconds left. He jumped and tried to sink a guillotine. He didn't have it, so I just went and punched his body till the end of the round.
Yeah. So I had that round. I had that fight 2-1 for you.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning the fight. It was unanimous. Like we won a unanimous. The other team was livid. They wanted to see the scorecard, and it was the same way that I saw it, 2-1, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, there was literally like some beef in the Sioux for like months after that fight. Where they blamed the promoter for favoring our team and blah blah blah, and the promoter was in the Sioux. Like, bro, what do I have to get from doing this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the judge. I just promoted the event, right? So, and the funny thing is that the two teams ended up merging together anyways.
It's amazing.
So they're like buddies now. But yeah, Evan. So for me, you know, that when you won that fight, I was like, yeah, you know. And how did it make you feel that everybody wanted to get a picture with you after the fight?
Oh, that was
Small
so
town,
dope,
man.
man. I
There is
remember.
no love. There's no better love than small town love.
Yeah, man. I literally won the fight, and I remember literally immediately they raised my hand. I went, get props to my opponent. I literally just like pointed the table at your family. I was just so pumped up. Then we leave the ring like 3 different like 18-year-old girls. Like, can we get a picture? And I was like, oh shit, I'm a superstar. Hell yeah, let's do it. We just went and did that, and then I remember this is one thing. I don't know if you remember this, Daryl, because I think you're still at the ring. I went back with Caleb, and I literally have never been more tired in my life. I just laid on the ground. I just laid on the ground, just panting, just feeling like I'm going to throw up. Threw up a couple times, laid on the ground. Caleb's just looking at me like, bro, are you okay? Like, what's going on? I've never been more tired in my life. But, yeah, that was
there's after there's actually a great after party story about this where we end up going home. Do you want to tell it, Ever, or do you want me to?
I can tell it. We I don't know. So we went and we went to your parents' house. We go, and your parents own a little convenience store there, and we were just drinking beers in the garage. And I remember you're like, "Oh, okay, let's go get some snacks." And we probably had like, it was way too much money. We probably just went into the store, threw down like $80 and stole like 8 bags of chips and 2 chocolate bars. We ate those, and we kept drinking beer, and then you took your Bluetooth, and we were walking down the street in the Sioux, and just cranking tunes. And
it wasn't even the Sioux, bro. It was like where we actually were staying was a little town about 45 minutes east of the Sioux. So yeah, the town was like 1,500 people. So as soon as we went out at like 3 a.m, just picture like a dead small town with like, you know, pretty much on a normal day, the small town closes at 6 o'clock. Like, 6 o'clock, shut down, everybody go home for the day.
It was so dead, man. Yeah, because we just walked with the Bluetooth. Looking around, I'm like, where is everybody? Like, I'm used to city living. Like, I'm like, where? Like, literally walking down streets, cranking tunes, and I'm like, what is going on? We make our way to the dock, take some pics, and we just kind of jam. And then the one thing, this is a funny story at the end. I remember we go, and I posted on my Instagram that I won, whatever. People are hitting me up. And then my ex-girlfriend calls me, and she's talking to me on the phone, and we've been drinking beers. I'm laying on the ground, or laying on the bed. I mean, we're back at your parents' house, and she's talking to me. And we're just talking. She's telling me some stuff like, like what's going on? And then the next morning, your mom mentions this to you. And you're like, what? Like, he wasn't talking to anybody. And she's like, yeah, your friend was talking to
my mom's making us breakfast. She's like, hey, your friend was like talking at like 5 a.m. to somebody. And I'm like, what? Like, no, he wasn't. Like, we got in and we went to bed. And she's like, no, I swear he was talking. So to me, I just thought that you maybe were like, you know, you're talking to yourself when you're sleeping. Like, yeah, I won, I'm the greatest, right?
Yeah, you're watching YouTube or something.
So yeah, like we start driving home, and then you tell me the story. You're like, yeah, my girlfriend called me like 5 a.m. We were talking about this and this, and I'm like, bro, so my mom wasn't you woke her up talking to your exes.
Such a mess. That was such a good trip, though, man. That was my favorite by far. I don't think anything compares to that. It was just, I felt like a superstar after that. Everybody treated me like a superstar. I felt like a superstar. It was just small town, man. It was awesome.
All right, Damon, your favorite fight trip?
Man, I was thinking about it, and it has to be New York City.
So we go one extreme to the other. Little
there you
like
go.
Excluded in the woods, the middle of nowhere, to like the Mecca.
To the Mecca, yeah, exactly. And it was, man, it's crazy. Like I watched that Friday Night Fights on UFC Fight Pass. So to be able, like, when you asked me if I wanted to fight on it, I was like, holy crap, and I'm 100%. And I was like, that fight was in my head leading up to it, for like a month. You know, I couldn't get it out of my head, and I was so nervous for that fight. And it was wild. But like the team trip, like the city's huge. You know, I didn't know what to expect. The city's it lives up to its hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good, nice. So, what are some of the points that like stand out? Like, was it like, you know, where we show up, you know, we driving down. So for me, you know, they've moved their menus over the years, and you know, the hotels they put us in. So this time we were actually like right down on Wall Street. So
Yeah, exactly.
we come rolling in on a Thursday afternoon at 3:45 in a Dodge Ram 4x4 club cab ripping down a one-lane street on Wall Street. Like, that's not really the best vehicle made for like New York transit.
Yeah, man, like that going down there, I really don't remember much because I remember I was cutting weight and it was like one of the worst ones I've ever done to this date. And I was like, man, I was going down to 140 and I just wanted food so bad. I think Evan Dean, what is that place called in the States? Chick-fil-A.
Nice.
I think Evan Dean Chick-fil-A the whole time.
Oh yeah.
I need water. Oh man.
So, hey Damon, if I could cut you off a little bit, your microphone just got muffled a bit.
Yeah, yours is muffled
Yeah.
too a little bit, Daryl.
Yeah, yours is too. I was gonna say that.
Well, then tell me, how's it now? Better?
No, it's the same.
Same on my end.
Yeah, it's the same.
All right.
There
Well,
we go. That's a little better.
That's better? Okay.
A little bit.
Stand close to it. See where my mic is. Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep talking about this then. Let's keep talking about Friday Night Fights. So we weighed in. You got to stand on
Yep.
the old shipping scale they use there, the big huge brass scale instead of the digital numbers.
Yep.
It's got the weights that circle around on like kind of like the arms of a clock.
Yep. You see it in all the pictures, and when I stepped up there, I was like, "Oh wow, this is it, right?"
Yeah.
And yeah, I got to face off with my opponent. I guess he's from, according to Witzel, a pretty credible gym. So it was cool to do that, the face off. I think it was my first face off too that I've ever done. So
Yeah, Vision Quest. They're actually definitely like a pretty big name gym in New York City, and their coach Primo is like he's highly regarded in the Muay Thai community in the United States. So you know, that's definitely a big W for you. Now,
yeah.
Like during that fight, how did you feel it went?
I remember I was super nervous. Like I remember coming out, like when I was in the ring before the fight started, I'm like, well, wow, this is it. And I was super nervous, and it took me a while to get going in that first round. And I remember I was waiting kind of on shots and stuff like that. So he was landing more. And then I remember coming back to the corner after the first round, and you know, you kind of like, you're like, all right, man, we're already down 2 rounds now because you're down 1 coming into New York City as it is. So I kind of have to pick it up. And I remember you got me fired up, and I was like smacking my gloves together and stuff like that. And
I remember that.
Back out and started. Then I pushed her a little more. You know, I knew what I had to do to win. So
Do a motivational speech in the corner to light a fire under you.
yeah, you do it good. So
Well, thank you.
yeah.
So there's one thing that stands out in my mind in that fight. Before we were about to walk out, I distinctly remember you saying, "That's the hot chick from Orange is the New Black."
Oh, yeah.
So, is this true? What was it really her?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I thought I saw her through the.
So which one are we talking about? Are we talking about like Donna from the '70s shows, or are we talking about Blonde Piper here?
Okay, Blonde Piper, Taylor Schilling. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I was in the corner, and then I look over at you, and I see her standing right in the front row. And I'm like, holy crap, I can't lose the fight in front of Piper. You know what I mean? I have to win this. I was watching the show. I'm like, oh my god, kind of like a crush, right? Celebrity crush. I'm like, I have to win this. Yeah, so that also fired me up. Daryl and Piper fired me up.
Daryl and Piper. There you go. Ultimate couple.
Yeah.
Nice. So with that fight, the same thing I see, you know, kind of touching on like Evans fight, you know, first round's close. I don't know if we lost the first round. Like, it was close. Because we're in New York, we definitely give the first round to I forget his name. I'll just call him Buddy.
Michael Salazar, yeah.
Mike Salazar, yeah. So we give the first round to Salazar. Round 2, you come out, you light him up in round 2. You definitely, put the brakes on him. Then round 3, again, we do the same thing, which when we watch it on their Friday Night Fights page, the announcers are just so biased. They're like, oh, well, Michael won round 3, so I think we'll have this, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, like, you took it worse in round 3 than you won in round 2. Like, what are you guys talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but then again, that's just, New Yorkers. And, so we win that fight. And then I distinctly remember after the fight, there was a guy from Texas fighting on that show, correct?
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
I remember that.
So when do you guys want to tell us that story about cheering for the Texas guy underneath the UFC camera?
Man, I think that was when we were writing to Luke Combs and Don't Mess with Texas. We were just out. Who's the coach? Who's Kevin Ross's guy? Who's that guy?
Mark Hyena or whatever.
Mark Beecher. Yeah, so it was
Mark
Beecher's
Beecher.
boy that was fighting.
Yeah, so Beecher's out there. We're in the crowd, and we are just screaming. We're like, Texas.
Yeah, because everybody else was he was fighting a New York guy, right? And
So everyone's going for New
we're
York.
the guy from New York, and we're the only 3 guys cheering for Buddy from Texas.
Yeah,
Oh,
we were the outsiders.
And then the
People
Texas
just giving
guy
us 30
stomps
loads.
But it was weird because the guy we were cheering for, his coach was cornering against me in my fight.
Yeah.
They had a little double going on, Primo and then Mark there. So
Yeah, you know what? I think they actually used to train together back in the day. I think that's why.
oh yeah.
All right, so Friday Night Fights. What about the after party for that, boys? Like that was one thing I distinctly remember. Now, let's not shortchange this because I think Evan was cornering with me.
Yeah.
But Damon brought his buddy that he went to Thailand with too to the trip, right? Now, I've already talked to this guy, and he's good with getting name dropped here, so feel free.
Witzel there, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Witzel.
Yeah, hey man, Witzel got us a lot of free stuff on that trip too. I think you got his ticket paid for too.
Yeah, man. He got a free ticket. He got free pizza. He got free drinks at every bar we went to.
Bar after, yeah.
Is it just because he talks to everybody nonstop and just makes friends
Yep.
with everybody? He's just a
Yep.
social butterfly.
Yeah, he is a social butterfly for sure. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of alone time on the farm catches up to you.
So the after party, we go out. You guys, we went out for a little bit, probably to 1 or 2, and because I had to drive 8 hours home and out of New York City the next day, driving out of New York on a Saturday morning, I decided to call it a night and go to sleep. And you guys went to an after party. You guys went to another after hours bar. You got some food. You guys come stumbling back in. And now this is something that always blows my mind, Damon, about you, is that, you go so hard, partying after the fights, but you're always the first guy up. So you woke up, got us coffee, and came back, and you woke up before me. And you're like, hey, you want some coffee? I'm like, what? How
It
the hell
makes
are you up
no
all night?
sense.
Yeah, it's a
Makes
gift,
zero
man.
sense.
It's a gift.
So you guys decided to drag Witzel out with the big boys, and he's out partying with us, trying to keep up, doing his best. The next morning is when it hit him, correct?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, he was done.
So,
Game over.
so we get the truck out of the parking garage, and I pull it out. I get on the street. I get Evan on the GPS, which he's great at, right, Evan? So this is the one time where I'm actually glad we screwed up directions, because if we would have did the directions properly, we would have went into the tunnel when the Witzel incident happened.
Yeah,
And we wouldn't have been able to stop, and he would have did it in the truck. So the Witzel incident is we're in New York. Evan misses the turn because I tell him to get on the GPS, And when you're downtown New York City, because of all the high buildings, like your GPS trips out. So I'm like, bro, just look at the map. Tell me what street. So Evan's like, yeah, okay. Instead, Evan turns his GPS, puts it on the side screen, starts going through Instagram or I don't know whatever he's doing, Grindr or Twitter, whatever he's into. So he's on there, like scrolling through, and we just keep driving. I'm like, bro, like, where are we going? He's like, we missed it. 3 streets back. I'm like, motherfucker, right? I told you not to freaking do this. So we circle around. We get back on the like New York highway. The highway goes around the city, right? We go to turn to get our thing. Witzel just hops out of the truck. Doesn't even tell us. Just hops out at the middle of like an intersection. You know, we're downtown, pretty much right back where we started on Wall Street. Witzel hops up, starts throwing up in the middle of the road.
People are honking horns.
I'm like, what? You know, the light turns green. People are honking, like New York, like, move, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right. So I just drive. I'm like, see you later, Witzel. Just drive out on the street, drive up the block, and like pull over. You see Witzel come running down the street with his belt chain or his wallet chain.
Pretty sure he had cowboy boots on too.
Oh,
Right.
he's damn sure he did.
Yeah, he gets into the truck. He's like, oh, I don't feel good. First thing we say to him, we were like, Witzel, you need to keep up, bro. Like, you got to suck this up and be a grown up right now.
Don't give him any fucking sympathy at all.
Yeah. So we finally get out of New York. We start driving again. We get going. We're into like, we cross into Pennsylvania for a little bit. We stop at gas. And the next Witzel incident, I missed all this.
This
So-
was the best.
This was apparently, because I went in to pay for gas to get a coffee, and I come up talking about how awesome my coffee is because it was like a pecan coffee. And then you guys are in the truck, like in tears laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny?
Oh,
So
man.
one of you guys got to fill me in on this.
I'll take this over for you. This was the best. I remember me and Damer chilling in the car with Witzel. And Witzel's like, I got to go. And
Yo,
he
buddy was
leaves.
cleaning the pumps though in the garbage can.
Oh yeah, he was. So there's a buddy cleaning everything on the gas pumps, and then there's another guy on the other side of the gas pumps pumping his gas. And Witzel goes, and right there where both those dudes are, Witzel just starts violently throwing up. And
Yeah, in the garbage can.
Damon doesn't realize at this time. Damon's on his phone, so I not tap Damon. I point at Witzel, and we just lose our minds. Guy at the gas
Man,
pump just
brutal.
looking at Witzel, just so mad. Like I
So
Yeah.
Witzel threw up all over the stuff Buddy just cleaned.
No,
Yeah.
he threw up in the garbage can. But
Yeah, he
like,
threw up.
Buddy
He
was
covered the
cleaning
rim of the garbage can too.
like if you go in the dictionary and look up the word mad, you see a picture of that dude's face pumping his gas just 2 feet away from Witzel, just spewing
I
guts.
might even have a video of it.
Oh my god, that was awesome. We were crying.
Oh
That
man,
was
that's
so
brutal.
good.
The best one.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for us today. So, yeah, this is actually a really good podcast about a couple of the team trips. So I had a lot of fun with this one. You guys that are listening in, you guys can hear some of the stories about some of our fighters on the road. Now, we get some of our old guys on here. Jack and Derek Enriquez and Carlin and a few other guys telling their stories as well. We can have definitely a trip. Our next podcast, we're going to elaborate on our experiences with the TBA tournament and what that means to us. So I'm actually really looking forward to that and getting everybody's opinions and voices on that. Unfortunately, this year, because of Rona season, COVID-19, TBA has been postponed. It was always our June pilgrimage. We're looking to go out there and beat them in October now. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys, Damon and Evan. Great having you guys again. Let's get back at it on our next episode of Ring Rust. Cheers, boys.
Peace out.
Yeah.
P.S. You don't even know how to spell pilgrimage. P.S. Peace out.